Good afternoon and welcome to the Wattics Energy Learning Community. My name is Amy Ryan, coming to you from the MX Energy Management Show, and today I have with me Paul Lynch, who is the head for energy and water at VINCI Facilities. Paul, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So yesterday you participated in a talk around facilities management, and namely energizing facilities management. What was your key message to attendees yesterday?
At VINCI Facilities, I'm an energy management function, a water management function within an FM company. So what we wanted to get across yesterday in the presentation was that as a facilities company, we understand the importance of energy and water management. And actually we also understand that the challenges that have been faced in the past around maybe these disciplines being slightly disconnected need to be addressed, and we need to work a lot more closely together as an industry for energy management within facilities management. There are a lot of risks, the landscape's changing, we've seen that happening all around us with additional costs of energy and water, the risk of compliance, and the additional risk around availability of supply as well. So all these are becoming a boardroom issue, which means it becomes an issue with our customers and an issue for us as a contractor supplying our customers. So we need to really start to look at how to coordinate and integrate these functions to be able to serve our customers' needs. If we do that, then we start to work together with energy management, asset management, facilities management, O&M, and really that becomes a more coordinated approach which can meet our customers' needs as they change as well.
Paul, can you expand on some of the benefits of a more integrated approach to facilities management?
So I think one of the main things is if we integrate the approach, then we're all aiming for the same goal and we avoid some of the potential conflicts that we may get or traditionally in the industry we have. Because if we all have different objectives to achieve, but we're not working together and our objectives maybe don't meet up in the middle, that's when we get the issues and that's when we get the problems where the approach isn't good for the customer because we aren't achieving all of their needs. A good example may be around information sharing, for example. Because if we share information, let's say around asset management, energy management, condition of assets, we can then start to look at, well, how do we maintain that equipment? How do we do it better? Do we look at condition-based maintenance? Do we use the data that we're sharing to be able to understand how an asset's performing? When maybe we want to change that asset, we might not want to do it under the traditional route of end of life, as you'd expect by a time frame. You may want to do it when it's actually not performing at its best. If we're measuring the performance as well as the looking at the asset management registers, then that starts to bring more benefits and we can actually give a better solution to our customers and actually a more improved service for ourselves as well, a more effective service.
In terms of technology and accessibility to data, how can those two factors help create a more integrated approach to facilities management?
Well, that is another key point because data, as we've talked about sharing information, data is key. The more accessible data is these days. Data is much more accessible. It's much more cost effective to get that data. It's easier to get hold of. It's easier to work with. And if we start sharing that data, we can start using almost the same data. If we collect the data in the same place, it can then be used by the different parts of the organisation for their own needs. Well, that means we don't have to collect the data more than once. It means we don't need more than one data collection system, for example. But it also means using, we all hear about the Internet of Things, smart systems, big data, all of these things coming through. If we use a kind of approach where we take maybe a business intelligence system to keep all the data together, we can still use the various different parts of technology that we use in our individual disciplines, but we take the data from the same place, which makes it more accurate. It makes it that we're working from the same baseline. It means the customers get an accurate data from different reports. It means everything's coming together quite nicely and closely. It means that we don't get this disconnect, we don't get confusion in the customer when he's or she's seeing different data from the same company.
How do you see the role and responsibilities of facility managers changing over the next couple of years?
I think the role is probably less likely to change than the actual way that we approach the role. I think the approach to the role and approach to the industry in general, we're talking about the coordination and the integration of it. I think we need to start considering within FM contracts and within energy management contracts, we need to start considering the other side of the fence. And that starts with contractual obligations. We need to make sure that the contracts are set up to be able to achieve both facilities management objectives and energy management objectives, asset management objectives, and that it all comes together and allows those functions to work. It needs to look at the KPIs, the performance indicators. We need to make sure that we're still measuring ourselves properly and adequately, but we're also maybe changing the way we do that. And instead of an FM contract just looking at more input-based key performance indicators, we might want to look at performance-based key performance indicators to make sure that the energy management function is actually helping the facilities to improve the way they perform and behave whilst we still maintain and operate in it in an effective manner. So I think the important thing is that we change our approach slightly, and by doing that we also need to change the customer's approach, because the customer's facing new challenges the same as we are, and we're all trying to address those challenges, so we need to maybe take the customer on the journey with us, and that way we can really truly integrate the energy management within facilities management and really make a benefit to the industry.
Paul, that's some very valuable insight that you've given in the interview today. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Okay.